Hello everyone, welcome again to another lazy live stream where we teach you AutoCAD in a way that is more productive so you can stop wasting your time. My name is Irving, and as always we show up here each Friday at 10 a.m. and that is the time in Pennsylvania in the United States. So if your time is important, if you work using AutoCAD, this is your channel. So we're gonna have an awesome presentation today. We're gonna learn a nice technique, a technique I use at the architecture office where I work. So let me start preparing. Hope you are doing great today. So we're gonna have also some time by the end of this presentation to ask your questions, to do some Q&A, because that's the beauty of doing a live stream. You can ask your questions and get answers in real time. Okay, so let me start preparing. Okay, 1 second. Let me see that everything is working nicely. Okay. All right, so let's start then. So let me jump to the presentation. All right, let's start. Today I bring you a new AutoCAD task. The task I have is this door tag that we need to add to each door, of course. Now this wouldn't be a problem if I have a couple of doors to change its number, but the problem is once you start working into big plans like this one, it would be a very consuming task to do this manually one by one. So let's see how we can automate this task of adding door tags today. All right, so in order to automate, I'm gonna undo a couple of times this. So first, let's see what we need. We need a tag, of course, a block tag, and this will have an attribute, as you can see, where you can type in your number, like so. So nothing fancy, again, just a block with an attribute. If you don't know how to create attributes, we have done plenty of videos on the channel, so you can check them out later. But once you have your block and your attribute, let's see how we can automate this task. For that, I'm gonna create a custom macro command. There are multiple ways to create a custom command in AutoCAD. One would be using the command macros palette. Now, some folks might not have this macro palette because I believe it was introduced in AutoCAD 2023, I believe. So another way is to use your tool palettes. We have created hundreds of AutoCAD macros also using our tool palette, and it's a matter of adding a polyline or rectangle to your tool palette, right clicking, going to properties, and then start typing the small code to create your custom command. Now, for this specific video, I like to use the ribbon method, meaning we're going to create a custom command and add it here to the ribbon, similar to any of these tools or commands. So for that, I'm gonna use my LazyArquitecto ribbon over here, or tab, and I'm gonna add it right here. Okay, so the command that we're gonna create today. Now, so before we start creating this command, I like to find a similar command here on the ribbon that I can reuse. I don't want to start from scratch. We don't like to waste time here in the LazyArquitecto. So what I like is this one over here, this groups panel. I like to have the ability of having a big command next to a small 3 of those ones. So I'm gonna find and try to reuse this. And then of course I can change the image, I can change the names and the macro. Okay, so let's see if we can find that. So the groups, and the panel name is groups also. Okay, so let's see if we can find that. So for that, let's open the options palette. Sorry, not the options palette. The CUI interface. So I'm gonna press enter, and we'll have this dialog box, customize user interface. Okay, so we have some tools right here, some commands. The ribbon is right here, so we can go ahead and expand it. So that's where the tabs are. Panels, tabs are these over here on your ribbon. I created the LazyArquitecto tab. If you don't know how to create it, it's very simple. I'm gonna expand that, and you can right click and say new tab. I'm not gonna do that because I already did that, and it's right here, the LazyArquitecto tab, which you'll find it here on the ribbon. Now, next we have panels also right here. So let me expand those panels, and those are this group of commands. For instance, draw panel, modify panel, and so on. But we were interested on the groups panel. So let's see if we can find that. Home groups, here we go. So that's the home groups. All right, so those are row 1, row 2, row 3 for the home groups. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy these home groups. I'm gonna say duplicate, and that way I can quickly click and drag it all the way up and release it into our LazyArquitecto tab. Okay, so let's see if we can find it. There are so many panels. Here we go, LazyArquitecto. I'm gonna release it. Great. So we have successfully added a copy of the home groups. So you can see home here is the tab, and the group would be, the panel name would be groups, which is right here. So that's what we want. Now, before I do anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and hit apply and hit OK. The reason why is because we could be adding, duplicating, moving panels, tabs here and there, but then we're gonna realize that it didn't take effect, those changes. So we don't want to do that. We want to always work on small steps when we tweak or create tools in our ribbon. That's a good practice. So I'm gonna go and click the LazyArquitecto now, see if, and yes, so the panel that we needed is showing out there. Great. So we see a couple of things that are wrong. The name, of course, we need to change it. We need to change the names also of the commands, and we also need to change the actual macro of each one. because we don't want to use the ungroup command. But that's what we want now. So we have now the tools structure here to quickly edit, and that's a good thing. You don't want to waste your time trying to recreate, the size, the functionality. No, that's just a waste of time, guys. You should never do that. So now let's go back to the ribbon to try to modify some of these names and things that we don't need. For instance, I don't need these options. Maybe I would. I'll leave it for now. Maybe I'll need it in the future. Not now for this video, but maybe in the future to expand on my commands. So I'm gonna go back to the ribbon, CUI. So CUI interface, and let's go back to, let me move this out of the way so we can kind of see what we got. It's not gonna update in real time, of course, but it's still a good idea to have it there. So I'm gonna expand the ribbon and find the panel copy of home groups. Here we go. Now we can expand and try to find each command, groups, ungroup, and so on. But a better way is to simply go here and click on those. For instance, let's say I want to remove this command. I can just click on it, and you can see immediately it jumped to that specific command, and it highlights it. So you can remove it, edit it, do whatever you need. So that's the more efficient way to do this. So let me do it again. So I'm gonna click, and boom, it's highlighting that specific command. Great. Now, let's change the name first. So copy of home groups, that's not right. What I like to call here is maybe let me see if I can make this smaller. Okay, so I'm gonna rename this. For now, I'm gonna call this auto numbering, because that's what we're gonna try to do. We're gonna try to automate the process of adding door tags and also numbering them sequentially, because we don't want to do that manually. If we have 100 doors, that would be crazy to do this manually. So let's do create the auto numbering. I'm gonna copy that, and I'm gonna also change it on the display text. So I'm gonna paste it and hit apply. Okay, as you can see, it's not taking effect yet because we need to click OK. But now that we changed the name, what I like to do is so let me click OK for now. Again, just to see that the changes took effect. Here we go. Great, auto numbering. So I'm gonna go back to the CUI by pressing enter. And then let's go ahead and go back to the ribbon, panels, and find the auto numbering. Okay, so I'm gonna modify the first command here, which is the ungroup command. And for that, I'm not gonna like physically modify it here, because that ungroup command is also here on this command list, and I don't want to modify that. What I want to do is I'm going to create a brand new command hitting this star icon, and you can see a new command is being assigned. There's no image. We can assign any image from here, or you can also download one from the internet. To make things quicker for you, I'm gonna pick a random icon. Maybe let's see. Nothing looks like a door here. Okay, I found a door. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and name this. I'm gonna name this maybe door tag numbering. That's all up to you. You can add a description also, but the important part is the macro code that we're gonna start adding or implementing. For now, I'm gonna hit apply, and you're gonna see that your new command is right here now on the list. Now what we need to do is somehow replace the ungroup command with this door tag numbering command. So I'm gonna click and drag it all the way up and release it right about there, like so. Now of course we don't want two commands here, so I'm gonna delete or remove by right clicking on the ungroup command and hit remove, and I say yes. Don't worry, you're just removing it from the ribbon, but the command is still here, and the command is gonna be still under the home groups panel, so don't worry about that. Now I'm gonna hit apply for now and click OK, because we did a lot of modifications, and remember, when we work on the ribbon, it's good practice to go in small steps. Here we go. We have successfully added the door tag numbering here. So great. Now of course, if we hit or use our tools, nothing is gonna happen because we didn't modify the macro yet. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the command again, pressing enter to go to the CUI, and instead of going now and find the command on the ribbon, I don't need to do that anymore. I can just search here for the door tag numbering. Okay, so once I do that, I can go ahead and expand the macro code over here. So here you go. Now what we can do here is start implementing again a series of commands to try to automate the numbering insertion process. Now again, we are in the LazyArquitecto. We don't like to waste time. So what I'm gonna do is, we already created a similar tool in the channel called numbering or auto or sequential numbering, and I'm just gonna find it. Okay, just gonna find it and start from there. Again, we never should start from scratch. You don't want to waste your time. So what I'm gonna do is, I shared this numbering macro before with our members on our Patreon page. What I'm gonna do is go to our under collections and scroll down to lazy macros and find it over here. We have plenty of macros that we have created through the years. Again, these are wonderful tools that will save you plenty of time. So let's find the numbering. Here is auto numbering. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this macro from right about here. I'm gonna select all of this, right click and say copy. Okay, so there are some nice instructions here, of course, to make sure you create your command properly and all of that. But we have what we want, the macro code. So I'm gonna go ahead and erase this and paste it with control, or just right click and say paste. Okay, now we need to do a couple of things here. First, we need to change our block name, which is right here. Now I know the name of my block is called door tag, so I'm gonna change that. Door tag. Okay, now for macros, it's a good idea to don't leave a space on the name of your block. So that's the best way to avoid any errors. Okay, so that's when I'm using this character over here to don't have a space. Now, to quickly explain this again, because we did an entire live stream for this auto numbering command before, but I'm gonna briefly explain you. First, we're modifying a couple of system variables for the attribute that we need. We're also using the insert command to insert our door tag block. Now, we needed a way to control the scale also, or size of our block, because again we use different viewport scales, maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch. So that block will need to somehow be able to control the size, right? That's why we are using a decel expression here. Wait, no, we're not using actually an scale option here, but we should. Let's see how we can implement that later also. But what we're using is a decel expression here to add one number to the previous number. You see the +1, meaning if 1 was inserted before, the next one will be +1. That will make it 2, 3, and 4, and so on. And that number will be controlled by the usery1 system variable, meaning if you ever want to start from number 100, you can type usery1 and then set 100, and then once you use your command, it will be 101, 102, and so on. All right, that's pretty much what this code is doing. Again, we need to tweak it to our needs, but we are not starting from scratch, which is a waste of time. So for now, I'm gonna click OK and accept these changes. So I'm gonna click OK, and just for now, I'm gonna hit apply and OK. All right. So let's say our viewport, what size is our viewport? 330 seconds. Okay. So let me find over here a chart that we use for scales. Here we go, it's right here. If you don't have this chart, you can, we also share it with our members, but you know, this is the viewports scales, and just so you know, 330 seconds viewport, the scale factor would be 128. Okay, so I'm gonna go back here and let's say because look, this block over here, it's gonna look so tiny you cannot even read it because it's not at the correct scale again. So anyway, let's say I change my my dim scale to something like 96. Let's pick a random scale again, just for example purposes. But I'm gonna test what we did so far for our door. So I'm gonna click that, and let's say I need to insert a block right here. No, we're getting, it says insert a specify insertion point. Oops, it's inserting it there, but it's so tiny. That's crazy. Why so tiny? Well, let's find out. So look, it's kind of working. It's a sequentially number, but again, the scale, it's a problem. So let's see how we can fix that. So I'm gonna open my property palette and check the scale of this drawing. So you can see scale is 1. And again, that's not right, because look how it's gonna look, so tiny. So, but that's a good start. Again, all we did was copy and paste our previous auto numbering block, so we can have something to start and work on. Okay, so I'm gonna erase this. So we know the sequential number is working, but the scale is not working. We need to, again, a way to control that based on our viewport scale that we're using. How do we do this? Let's go back to the CUI and find our command door tag numbering, expand the macro, and let's see how we can do that, guys. Let's see. All right, so in order to control the scale, I'm gonna use a system variable. Okay, a system variable called dim scale. Dim scale is a way, a system variable in AutoCAD to control dimension sizes, leaders, and more. So we can use that also to control our our door tag block. Okay, so now the question is where I'm gonna insert this piece of code. Well, I need to insert it when AutoCAD asks for the scale or size of the block. All right, and that is after we use the insert command. It's gonna ask to specify the name. After that, it's gonna ask to specify a location point. So that's why we're using this slash to give us a pause to click on the screen, and then it's gonna ask for the scale also. So over here is where it's gonna ask for the scale. So instead of pressing enter to accept the scale of 1 that AutoCAD always give you, I'm gonna say, or open parentheses and close parentheses, and use this variable called get var to get a variable. I'm gonna leave space that represents an enter also, and in quotation I'm gonna say dim scale. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do, and then to accept that I'm gonna press enter, of course. So what this small piece of code will do is, instead of just accepting the 1 scale for the block, we're gonna say AutoCAD to base the scale on the dim scale value. Okay, and who set the dim scale? Well, we set it to whatever our viewport is. So let's test this, see if it works properly. I'm gonna click OK, and let's see what's going on. So let's say our viewport right now is to 330 seconds again, and according to the chart, if you don't know from the top of your head, it's the scale factor is going to be 128. So we can set dim scale to 128 and press enter, And that way, when we insert our blocks, in this case our door tag, we can click, and here we go. It'll come on the correct scale: 20, 21, 22. So I'm gonna cancel for now, and you can see now that we are gonna be able to read this because this has the correct scale based on our viewport. Okay, now the other problem I see is well, I see a couple of problems that we need to tackle. First, a layer. You can see all of my tags are coming on layer 0, and that's not right. I want to automatically set the layer for the block. And also another problem I see is it's coming from a random number, 20, 21. I don't want that. I want to come from 100, 101, 102, and so on. So those two problems first. Let me fix the problem about the random numbering. So I'm gonna go back to the CUI, and then we'll fix the layer also, remember. So I'm gonna go back, door, tag numbering. Let me open the macro. Now, how do we fix the random number? Remember I mentioned we are using the user1 variable to store the number that we want to start from, but I don't want to manually have to type user1 here on the command line, because you might not even remember that variable user1. Like, who's gonna remember that? Nobody's gonna remember, even myself. So what we can do is make it easier on us and go to our ribbon panels, find the panel that we want, in this case the auto numbering, and I like to create a command to set the user1 value, or the number that we're gonna start the auto numbering, over here on this big command. So that way I can save these two for maybe auto numbering something else, like wall tags, column bubbles, or something like that. There are multiple tasks that require auto numbering, or maybe window tagging, you know. So I'm gonna again add a command here, a quick command. So in order to do that, I'm gonna click the star icon. I'm gonna rename the command. And how can we name this? Maybe number start, number start, number, first number, I don't know, pick your number, I don't know. Pick your number, I don't know. That's all up to you again. As long as you understand why this command is for, you should be fine. But the idea is, again, I'm gonna pick a icon. You can pick the one that you desire, find one from the internet, but to make things quicker, I'm gonna pick, is there anything that has a number here? Let's see. Nothing has a number. Okay, maybe, sure, maybe this one. Okay, so the important part here is the macro command. And for the macro, I'm gonna say user1 and enter. And we need the number for that. The number you're gonna specify. So I'm gonna click OK. And then apply. And don't forget, we need to add this pick your number command to our auto numbering panel. Remember that one that we have under the LazyArquitecto tab? You're gonna have your own tab, of course. Maybe it's your company tab, your company name. So let me expand this, and I'm gonna find the groups command that I want to modify, and then I'm gonna add here the pick your number over here and release it right under the group right there. Okay, so now I have two commands right there. So this command, as you can see, is not big and large. Mine looks very tiny. I don't want that. So if you select that command, you can see it says large with text vertical, and if we select our command, it says small. So I'm gonna change that, large with text vertical, and you can see that that looks much better. So of course I'm gonna erase now this command, the groups, because we don't need that. I'm gonna right click and say erase, and that way we only have our command. Now this name looks very, very long on our command, so I'm gonna change the name to pick number. That looks much better. I'm gonna hit apply, and again pick number. I'm gonna hit apply, and here we go. Now let's test it. I'm gonna click OK. And let's go back to our Lazy tab. Here we go. We have the pick number and we have our door tag. Now just remember the problem that we were having. So this is 100. I will want 101 here. So now it's not a problem anymore, because if we pick our number, we can specify a value, maybe 101, something like that. And that way when we insert our dog tag, we can specify the next number. So in this case, this will be 102, or sorry, 101, 102, 103, and so on. You can see so quickly how I'm adding my numbers. Great, right? Of course, this number is not right, so I can erase that. Again, I can pick my number, let's say 100. That's so easy now and simple, and 100. Here we go, guys. Awesome. Now, the last thing I want to do is remember the layer. The layer is wrong on all of this. You can see. So, for that, I'm going to go back to the CUI. And let's see how we can change the layer. Let's find our door, tag numbering. Let's go back and jump to the macro code. Now there are a couple of different ways that we can tackle the layer for this. One would be to insert or create a new layer. But I don't know if we want to do that. I'm gonna copy this small piece of code to create a layer, and I'm gonna place it right about here at the beginning. Okay, so I'm gonna right click and say paste, and we have pasted this small piece of code where we are creating a layer with the layer command. We're using the M for make. The layer name would be A elevation wide, which is wrong. So I'm gonna change the layer, maybe a door tag. That's all up to you again. But the important part is the color, of course. We in this case want true color. If you don't want true color, you can simply erase that. And then the color, in this case we want color, I don't know, let's say color 3. I believe color 3 is green, if I remember correctly. We're gonna double check that. But 3, 5, you have all of those numbers to pick. White. I'm gonna show you how you know that in a moment. And then of course we need to again say the name of the layer that we want to assign that color 3. In this case, a door tag. All right, so that's one way, and let's test that. I'm gonna apply, said okay. So we finish here on number 104. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick my starting number, 104. Oh, sorry, no, 105. 105. That's my starting number. Now let's test our door tag auto numbering. So I'm gonna hit there, 105, great, 106. Now you see the difference immediately, right? So I'm gonna cancel for now, pressing the escape key. This block is on a door tag, which is gray, the color green, which is what I wanted. You can see color 3 would be green. If you highlight on it, yellow would be 2, red would be 1, and so on. Now, but we have a problem if we use this method. The problem is that it changed also our current layer, and we don't want that, because we might save and close the drawing, and the next time we start working on this drawing, creating maybe something here on the outside, it's gonna come on that layer. I don't want that. So look, let me show you again. Let's say this is on layer 0, which I always like to leave my drawings on when I close them. And look what's gonna happen when I use my door tag here. It's gonna set that layer current also. I want to go back to the current layer, which was 0. So let's see how we can do that then. Let's use a different method. Back to our CUI, door tag numbering. Let's erase where we added it, because I don't like this method. Make sure you only erase the code that it's dealing with the layer and not with the attributes. So I'm gonna delete that. Now, a different way, which is the method that I like actually, is by using a command called chprop and pressing enter, of course, to accept that command. And I'm using this underscore that lets AutoCAD know that a command is coming. So I like this change prop because I can change the layer properties by using the L option and accepting. No, but before that, when we use the chprop or change properties command, it's gonna ask us to select our object. In this case, I'm gonna use the L to select my last object, in this case my door tag block that we just inserted it. So after I accept that, I'm gonna change the property layer. So I'm gonna say LA for layer and pressing enter, of course. And what layer I want? Well, I want a layer called door, maybe door tag, or maybe a door. I don't know, that's all up to you. Maybe I want a layer called a door tag, right? And then of course I need to press enter and then a second enter to finalize that command. So let's test this option to set up a layer. So I'm gonna click OK, apply, and OK. Now let's set our layer maybe to 0 where we usually want it. Now 106, so I need to start on 107, of course. So let's test our door tag numbering. That will be 107, 108, and let me cancel. You can see the layer is the one that we specify, but look what happened when I press escape. Our we see that our current layer wasn't changed, which is awesome. Here you have it, guys, and again, a nice way to auto numbering blocks in AutoCAD. You can use this method to again number your doors quickly and efficiently in AutoCAD. It's so easy. It's like a video game now. Look, I'm having fun adding door tags over here. I'm not having a hard time. That's awesome, guys. Look how easy. And I can finish this. Look, I already finished half of my building. All right, awesome, guys. So what do you think about this method of adding door tags to your drawing with this efficient quick macro that we have created? Of course, I'm not gonna change this because in the future we might create another live stream for maybe oh, we already have wall tags here. You can see, look, wall tag 1, wall tag 2, wall tag 3. But maybe for windows or for column bubbles, the possibilities are endless for auto numbering items, guys. All right. So I'm gonna stop right here, see if there are any questions or not. So yeah. For some reason, my chat is showing no messages or anything. I don't know why. Because usually there are many people connected and chatting, but not this time. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong on my settings or something. Or maybe, I don't know. Okay, so if there are no questions, we're gonna stop right here. And start thinking on our next live stream for next Friday at 10 a.m. So, yeah. But before I go, I would like to tell you that if AutoCAD ever feels stressful, or your boss keeps asking why things take so long, or maybe you're the boss and you see your co-workers taking a lot of time to do their AutoCAD task, oh my god, you might not be using the fastest methods. There is a better way to work, and join our community, the LazyArquitectos. It's a membership where I share everything I create, like the macro auto numbering tool that we created today. We create macros, dynamic blocks, templates, drawings, anything with no limits. So if you saw it on YouTube, you'll find full access inside. So check it out at lazyarquitecto.com/members. All right, I'm gonna see you here next Friday. Bye bye.